I'm really learning patience, and I'm sure everybody else in the world is very gifted at patience. I genuinely don't know how to be patient. And so God is bringing it up in so many aspects of my life.
Welcome back to another episode of the While I'm Waiting podcast. I'm your girl, Johanna.
This is Elle.
And today we are talking about how much this is not your grandmother's waiting season. Yeah. And caveat this for all of the young grandmas. We're not talking about y'all.
The 36ers.
Yep. We're talking about the grannies. Like, yes. You know, the big mamas, the whatever you want to call them. The grandmoms for my Philly folks. So, yeah, So we're in an instant gratification society.
Yes.
We don't even like it when the internet is slow.
No.
We don't like it when the internet's slow. We don't like it when our phones take long to charge. We don't like when people don't respond back fast enough in text messages. We have literally lived in a society where in our lifetime, we have seen the internet come into our lives, evolve. We went from Black Planet, MySpace, Facebook when it was just for schools, to now you have Instagram, TikTok, YouTube as a thing. And so we're saying all that to say we want things and we want them now. And that is the total opposite of what the waiting season is about. Because if anything, if there's ever going to be a time where you're going to wait, it is during the waiting season, right? How are you holding up with not getting things right away in your waiting season?
How am I holding up? Girl.
This is queen of the now, I might add.
I don't like waiting in lines. Yeah. And I am my work world has spoiled me tremendously in that I don't have to wait in many lines anymore. So I suck at waiting. Yeah. I suck at waiting. However, I'm not doing the best right now, transparently.
Transparently. Is that even a thing?
Is that a word? I don't know. Full transparency. I'm not doing the best at waiting.
Right.
Johanna has to talk me off a cliff a million times out the week.
God is working on patience with her, which is the opposite of what you would have if you knew how to wait.
Yes.
Yep.
I don't understand. It's like if something is right in front of you, I don't understand why you can't just have it now. Yep. I prefer to have it now and work out whatever the kinks are as we go. And I'm in a season of do not touch, do not go forward, do not collect 200.
Slow down. Take the scenic route.
And it is painful.
Ooh,
and
painful?
So yes, because I want everything now.
Yeah.
So I don't understand. So I'm really learning patience, and I'm sure everybody else in the world is very gifted at patience. I genuinely don't know how to be patient. And so God is bringing it up in so many aspects of my life. I remember as a kid hearing about people praying for patience and I remember hearing them say be careful about asking God for patience because he'll have you go through things so that you can get more patience. So I've lived my entire late teen, all adult life not asking for patience because I didn't feel like I needed to go through anything. I'm cool, God. I don't need no extra anything. And now here we are years later, and it's a whole lesson in front of me. One thing I will say, I do think that I engaged in relationships and or situationships that I could have avoided, heartache that I could have avoided if I had just been patient. I do, and I think we mentioned this in an earlier episode, but when you invest in the wrong person for however long, you're kind of setting yourself back because you still got to deal with the cleanup work. You got to deal with the healing and the repairing and the restoration and all of that. And so I definitely see that, or can see that my eagerness to be as I am in the moment has definitely derailed me in the area of love for sure.
Don't they say somewhere in the Bible that patience is a virtue? Did you not? You skipped over that part?
I work on the other virtues. I don't have to have it all.
Wow.
I just chose not to have patience.
Wow.
But now here I am.
Literally the requirement for the waiting season is the patience that you say that you
This is
don't
why
want to work
I
on.
am on struggle. But when we talk about our grandparents, and and it's funny because my grandma, like okay, so my grandma wasn't a traditional grandma, but she's not someone who I would, maybe she was patient like in her own way. But when it came to like waiting season, I'm like, in marriage, like what waiting season? My grandma got what she, like she went in and she got it.
How long were they married though?
63 years.
So trust me, she learned patience.
Oh, 1000% in the marriage.
Yeah, no, the marriage was probably the test of how much patience she learned and continue to expand her patience.
That's what I'm just asking for, that test. Let me get the marriage and be patient in the marriage.
And see, I think the reason why you are probably dealing with learning it now is because you cannot get married unless you have patience, because you don't know what he's gonna bring, right?
Yeah,
like
these are facts.
I think I feel like when I think about my grandma, because like my grandma was 92, I think, when she died. So she lived, right?
Lived, yeah.
And I just feel like my grandma was always praying for something. Like praying for our safety, praying that people got well. I just feel like she was always praying, always in her Bible. Really, like that generation of grandparents were in this world, but they just did not care for any of its urgency. And
true,
we live in a we live in a, if it's a crisis for me, it must be an emergency for you. And God literally is like, I don't care about that. Like, it is my timing. Because you think you ready until I drop it on you. And then the next prayer is like, but God, why would you give me all of this and I can't? Like, it is like a kid who's like, I want candy. I want candy. And their parents are like, no, you can't have candy. It's going to give you a stomachache. And they're like, no, I want the candy, right? And so if the parent gives in and gives them that, all right, you said you want the candy? Eat it. And you eat that candy until your stomach hurts. Now you're looking at the parents like, why'd you make me eat all that candy? And they're like, didn't I tell you? Like, I genuinely feel like that's what this is with us needing things now. I get it.
Perspective. But it makes sense because you're on the side of patience. Like, my perspective is, it's like, this process is like, it's Christmas and your parents have told you, I got you let me age myself. I got you the Sega Genesis.
Not a Sega.
Let me go.
Wow.
Let me go back.
Wow.
Like, I got you the Sega Genesis. It's wrapped under the Christmas tree. I know it's there, and you keep telling me I can't unwrap it. That's what this experience is like for me. It's like, but it's right there.
Wait, can I tell you a funny thing?
Doesn't make sense.
So, yes. So I have patience now. I didn't then. And so for Christmas, I would legit like unwrap and rewrap my own gifts. I knew everything to the point where one Christmas, but one Christmas, like I kind of blew it up because I don't think my mom knew. And I was like, can you pass me my stereo? Like, it's wrapped. Yeah. And but I knew because I had mastered the art of wrapping and unwrapping. So she's like, what? And I was like, huh? And then, so yeah, I get it. That was a good, yeah.
It's all I'm trying to do. So
I was also a child. Okay, but go ahead. Yeah.
But God is our Father. He understands his children. Like, all I'm saying is, this is the experience. But to your point about our grandparents, like, what I appreciate though, like, it is the truth. Like, what I realize about my grandparents' marriage is that she did have to exercise a tremendous amount of patience. Like, my grandfather, coming into the marriage, my grandma was saved, my grandfather was not. They had kids, they had losses, they got great. So like, and they have very different. They were different people. And so I watched her even up to the last couple of months of her life, not being in agreement with her husband on decisions that he was making and working on being patient through them. And what I learned too is like, hell, like, it doesn't mean that you're not honest about like how you feel about a situation, but she stuck it through. Like, she accepted eventually she accepted the decision that had been made, and and she supported. In the end, she supported my grandfather in it, not in saying that she agreed with it, but in that she wasn't like holding it over his head. Like she
Yeah.
was able to move forward. And so like, and if that's like a snapshot of what the entirety of their marriage looked like, then it's like, oh, like it really is like there are benefits to learning how to be patient before you enter into a marriage.
In anything. Patience
Or
is with anything.
I have to be patient in other things too.
Like maybe if you were patient in traffic, you'd have less anxiety, you have better patience is not just like while we're experiencing it the most in our waiting season. It's like a necessity of life. Like honestly, if you don't slow down, you can't even appreciate things. Like, those people that are in such a rush to hit their milestones in life, like hit these goals, like, yup, I'm gonna be the CEO of this multi-million-dollar company by the age of 40, and you're like 35, and you're like, that must happen. You're not even appreciating things that are happening in that moment. And the one thing that you don't get back is time. So patience for me is twofold. One, because I just genuinely think that was one of the things that I had in me. Like, it wasn't a steep hill. I also believe that when you have siblings and you're the eldest sibling, you learn patience because suddenly at some point in life, it stopped being about you and you had to consider another person. So you learn patience. But then my line of work, when I was in the military, it wasn't when I wanted things done. It was when things had to be done. So I couldn't be in a rush for things that I couldn't control.
Well, so let me ask, like, so how long does it take to appreciate a thing?
Wow.
Well, and I only ask this because
I also want you to understand this is only a person who lacks patience asks a question like that.
Well, I just don't think it takes forever to know that you appreciate something. I appreciate our friendship, and we've only just but I appreciate. You know what I mean? Like, I barely drank that whole. I took a few sips, delicious beverage.
That's where you because you don't have patience. Because honestly, yeah, it's great now. Time, the patience for our friendship to develop even better. You appreciate that looking back. We've given it time to have more memories. We've given it time. It's not that it doesn't take away, but time.
It's just really hard because we don't know how much time we have. And I've learned a lesson that we listen. Like we did.
I just want you to know this is a real conversation. Like this is what it's like on the phone with her.
This is like I'm just saying.
She literally said to me, because I got to talk directly. She literally is like, how am I supposed to learn patience? How? Teach me how to learn. Teach you how to learn patience.
What is the quickest way to get this virtue down?
Who says the quickest way to learn patience? I can't.
Listen, I have learned. It's not my fault. The Lord, on my journey, the Lord is teaching me many lessons. And then the lesson that I've learned is that time is short. We're running out of time. So I'm not mad at appreciating a thing, or even not okay, if you're saying you need, okay, so Johanna likes
I got something.
Johanna's philosophy, her preferred approach to life is to measure twice and then cut. Yeah. Right? I'm not mad at that. I'm just saying measure faster. It's y'all why let's get on with the process.
So can I ask you something?
People who are let's take our time. It's okay, how much time are we talking about?
That's like meeting somebody on a dating app, and you're like, oh my gosh, he's so good. Like I'm feeling it. Like this is a connection, and you don't give it time. Like you're like, we should move in together. We should be together, right? Say you're you've decided all that in 6 months. Had you given a little bit more time, you would have known, oh, wow, he has the worst credit in the world. And really, he just moved in with you because he's a freaky bum. And then there's a whole lot of other stuff that you didn't give time. Yeah. Oh, my God. Did you do that?
No.
Oh, okay. Because I'm like, no. You had that look like you were about to defend it. I was like, oh, no.
No. But I'm about to ask you, what if time isn't the issue? What if truth is the issue? You could get to things quicker and efficiently with more more efficiently with truth. I feel like, so I'm not saying that time is invaluable, but I think that we hide behind time, as a product of like our traumas and all this other kind of stuff, where if you just got down to the truth, like you get there quicker.
Truth
So
is
even
subjective. That's why they say there's your version, there's my version, and there's truth. There is what you think. But like I always think there's intention and then there's perception. You might have the intent when you do a certain thing for it to land this way. How I perceive it is completely different. Who's telling the truth?
So I won't negate that. However, have the conversation. I'm saying, like, just go ahead, like, take down the walls, break down the barriers. Let's have the conversation, and let's see how close to an absolute truth we can get, so that you can make an informed decision. I'm not saying, like, I don't know if 6 months is short or long to be able to tell whether or not you're going to move in with a guy. I don't know. I've never moved in with a guy. What I am saying is that if you need 6 months to find out if someone has good or bad credit, to me, that's an issue. That's something that you can find out. Like, if you're willing to be direct and just straight up, and if that person is willing to be receptive to it, like, first month.
You know why you struggle with this, and you're so caught up on time, is because you think it's God's time. It ain't about what you want.
1000%.
Like, no, and the thing is, so time is our society, right? We put this time, like, by this age I need to have graduated school, by this age I need to have been married, by this age I would have purchased a house, by this age, like, we're on this timetable, right? But if you have patience, because let's think about it, right? God told Abraham, I'm giving you a kid.
Yeah.
Sarah's like, listen, I hit menopause 40 years ago. At this point, you out here breathing dust. There is no way we're getting a kid. And God is like, but you don't know the time that I've set on your life for how long you're going to live it. So who are you to tell me that you need to rush it because it's not for you? You need to be in a place of surrender and let things unfold the way I need to. Because sometimes the decisions you make might be the thing shortening your time versus if you just were patient and let it be.
That is a real thing. I would like that.
However,
is a real
comma.
Thing. No, however, comma. It's real. It's real. I will just add to that. that is like, yes, like that is a trust in God thing. Like, no, 1000%.
That's like, not just a trust. Like,
it's trust in God, trust in God's timing. That is
but it's a patience thing. Because if you have patience, like, I'm not in a rush.
I don't know, like, so
I'm not in a rush.
If we go back to Abraham and Sarah, like, I do, like, because I love that you brought that up. I agree with what you said, but I want to talk about what got her there. Like, what got her to the decision to tell her husband to sleep with her maidservant. I don't know that. I mean, like, I get the argument.
It's totally normal.
I get the argument that it was patience, but I think that it's like, like, yes, but also,
I think I know what our next episode is going to be.
It was disappointment. Also, let me put it this way. It is hard. Like, okay, it's one thing to say, okay, be patient. Patient, the issue with that, though, or the challenge with that, though, is that patience doesn't have, there's not a timestamp on it by definition. Get it? But that's the challenge. So for Sarah, she's in a situation where she's already past the age where you technically should be able to have kids. She does believe in God. I believe that she believed in God's promise to her.
But she wanted it when she wanted it.
It is. I feel like that's a fair statement. If after the first few times they had sex,
no.
She was just like, "Oh, okay, go sleep with Hagar."
I want what I want.
I believe that things, but I do. But maybe yes.
There's no maybe.
Yes,
we're humans. We want things when we want. We're in an instant gratification society.
But there are. I want what I want when I want it.
That's all I'm saying.
There are. But when you don't put
why do you
not deny that, like,
ooh,
okay,
look at her, she getting worked up.
Do you not deny that you could tell me, okay, in the conversation of patience, you could tell me, like, oh, okay,
And patience is something you don't do. Patience, you practice patience.
You practice patience,
like
absolutely.
You say, how do I become patient? You can't. You
1000% practice patience, but you need to tell me, like, okay, if there's a thing that I want, and you tell me I can't have it until December, it's like, okay, there's a time stamp on it. I still have to exercise patience to get to December.
You just want
when you tell me I can't have, when you tell me that I have a thing and I don't know when I'm gonna get it ever, it moves past like a point of like normal patience to like torture.
Wow. You know what?
Torture.
I appreciate this.
Give
you know
me
why?
the time stamp so I can like work on.
This is the real of the waiting season. Honestly, what you're describing is what the waiting season is. For a lot of people, it feels like torture. There are some moments where you could be like, yeah, no, I can do this. And the other thing is like, all right, God, I prayed 3 times a day for 2 weeks. So you still trying to tell me I'm not a millionaire yet? Like, I get it, right? Mm-hmm. We're human. This is a normal experience. As patient as I am, there are things that I'm not patient about in the moment. But then I'm like, hey, I'm rushing to what end? I don't know when this is going to end. But in the meantime, instead of letting the need and the urgency of it consume me, there are other things to focus on. And I think the reason why the patience become a struggle is because it's like you're staring at this thing, willing it to be something different. And because you're hyper-focused on it, it doesn't happen. But maybe if you focused on the other things, they kind of unfold and become a thing.
You're right.
All right. Well, I now have a part 2 episode of this that we're going to do. But, yeah. Lashana just inspired it. Either which way, we're wrapping this one up right now. So, thank you for tuning into this episode of the While I Wait podcast. And as always, he gave you the promise, give him the process.